now. Greetings from Storybrooke. This is the land where
this chamber has no windows and no doors, which offers you this chilling challenge to find a way out. Of course, there's always my way.
Once upon a time. Hey guys, how's it going this week? How's it going? Wow, it's been I feel like it's been like 3 or 4 months since we recorded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Well, anyway, seriously, how have you guys been? Elizabeth, what have you been up to?
Well, I just got a perm a few days ago, which has led to my eyes drying, burning, itching. So the chemicals are not really working well with my eyes, especially when I'm in the car.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, especially when I'm in my car, like my eyes, and then my hair's all tangled, and I like have knots, and my skin is drying on my hands and cracking. I'm not doing so great.
Well, I am so sorry to hear that. Your hair looks nice, but I am sorry to hear the crap you have to put up to look fabulous. Monica, how have you been? I hope things are going a little better for you.
Yeah, things have been just fine.
That's good. And nothing new, just hanging out, doing whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Tony?
Oh, no, everything's all good. Just celebrated a birthday back in February. May 28th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I had to blow out my candle, so, make a wish, and hopefully my daughter or son doesn't, make a stop back by my house or something like that. Good. Everything's all good. That's
good. Yeah, I've missed you guys. I've missed missed getting together, and I don't know if we want to touch on it now or later in news. I think we maybe we'll just go ahead and touch on it later in news, and so we don't like pile on bad news and get Elizabeth
just
all.
Do it now. Just rip off the Band-Aid.
Rip it off.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think we all know what we're talking about here. It looks like this is the last season for once. Yeah. I'm going to say I don't think it's a huge surprise to a lot of people for a number of reasons. But I also feel like we'll get more into it later on in the show. I guess maybe we'll bring it on up again in news. But I did feel like it was time to at least mention it. I didn't want it to be like the 600-pound gorilla, elephant in the room type thing. It had to be mentioned. But that being said, let's get on with the show. And Tony, why don't you go ahead and read this week's rhyming summary?
Sure can. So this is season 7, episode 11. Henry and Lucy's lives are locked in a bitter strife. An ambulance trades a life for a life. To save their lives, a sacrifice must be made. Who will be the one to make the trade? Someone's life is about to be pardoned. In this week's episode, Secret Garden.
Secret Garden, a name used very many times in literature. I think it's even the title of a movie and book. But very apt name for what's going on in the episode, I would think. Just for starters, what did you guys think of the episodes? The episode. Just quick, like yay, nay. We'll of course we'll get into the nitty gritty a bit later, but.
Yay!
What was that?
Oh, did I break off?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, you froze. I don't know. Okay, I said yay.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Okay, that. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a bad connection here.
I think you're freezing, Bobby.
You're breaking up a little bit.
I don't know why. That's weird. I'll have to check into that. A little late to do that now, but whatever. Monica, what did you think of this week's episode?
Meh.
Yeah,
Not one of their better efforts.
yeah. I've got to say, I kind of agree with you. There was a lot going on in the episode. But the more I watched it, it was, and it's not even that meh. It was more about like, I think you even pointed out some of the thing. It was like, really, that's like there were so many things that was just like too convenient. I don't know.
Fred did it.
Tony, what did you think of this week's episode though?
Just as how much where you noticed that Robin had 3 friends, right? I mean 2 friends.
2 friends, right?
Yeah. 2 friends. They only paid attention to 1. That's how much I displaced this episode.
Okay.
So who's the other person?
Apparently not important.
Apparently not important enough for her to have 1 part.
Yeah, and I mean, even who were those friends? Have we seen them before?
Well,
Never
like
seen them before.
No, they look like high school Catholic girls in their uniforms.
Right, and I would imagine they went to like some school in Storybrooke. They did say it was in Storybrooke.
Yeah.
I mean,
many years ago.
I don't know whose parents they are or anything like that. And she just meant like the friend who actually had a speaking part only mentioned the mother. So
yeah, they it seemed like they went a little out of their way in quite a few parts in the episode of saying not like really naming names and stuff like that.
That's what once is good for, leaving stuff out and then bringing them back in when it's convenient.
Yeah. I didn't understand why I said many years ago for that scene, because I'm like, okay, she doesn't really look older than when she's in the other Enchanted Forest or whatever. I didn't understand why they needed to have that, because it really didn't seem like it was that much of a stretch.
It wasn't that long ago anyway, because well, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about the let me just describe the open here first.
Sorry.
All right. No, you're fine. It was all of us. We were getting into a tangent. Okay. All right, so a cauldron bubbles as a trio of witches cast a spell. One of the mysterious figures dips a vial into the smoky brew when suddenly a cell phone rings. We see that the witches are Robin and a group of kids in Regina's vault. Zelina catches them in the act. As the others run off, she asks Robin how she got into the vault. Apparently, cool Aunt Regina left her the keys before she went with Henry. Robin says she's had enough parenting and walks off alone. As she walks through the woods, she feels something at her side and pulls out the vial from the cauldron. She drops it, and a mist starts to rise from the shards, which envelops Robin, and she vanishes. Meanwhile, at Tiana's place, Regina assures Hook they will find his daughter as Henry and Jacinda dote over baby Lucy. Suddenly, a portal opens. It's Zelina, and she tells Regina that Gothel has her daughter. Okay, so back to what we were saying, because we were more or less talking about this scene here. Right off the bat, Elizabeth, you have something to say here?
Well, I also thought of something else. I don't know what anybody else is going to say, but okay, I'll just go with what I said first.
Oh, go ahead.
So right off the bat, I'm seeing Robin is going through her teenage rebellion stage and kind of acting like a brat. Mm-hmm. And also when Zelina goes through a portal and sees I already had that written down. That's what I'm talking about. Sees the new Hook, he comments what? I'm like looking at my note going, what?
His comment makes it seem like he's so annoyed.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, no. Yeah, she's so like annoyed that there's like 2 Hooks now, calls him Nook. And she's like, didn't I see you off sheriffing with Emma? And that comment left me wanting to know more of what's happening with our Hook and Emma. And like, is there a baby yet? Is she still pregnant? I'm very invested in that, and I'll probably never know. And it makes me sad.
I did read. I read in an article that Emma's trying to free up her schedule to at least come back.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, and then the other thing, I know we've touched about this before, but what is with like the easy portals now? Like they used to be so hard.
Yeah, I did have a portal,
and now Zelina's just popping through one.
And she's lost her magic. I could almost understand it but at that point, Zelina has lost her magic. Zelina has no magic.
We don't even know.
No, we do know how it happens.
Yeah, they
know?
Black Fairy
Magic was-
used her magic to fill the crystals in the cave
Yeah,
and to put her plan in motion. That's
Yeah,
what her
she
magic
had-
went.
So wait, she like raised Robin without magic? See, I didn't realize all that. I
more
thought
or
she
less.
got her magic back.
She raised her without any magic. She's been without magic ever since that event. But yeah, I mean, like it kind of just it kind of makes you think like, well, no, never mind. Actually, never mind where that point was going. but yeah, she raised her without magic and everything, and yeah, she was magicless. So.
I didn't
Don't
realize.
mind me.
But yeah, that's what I thought. The same thing when she came walking through that portal. I was like, how is she coming through a portal? She has no magic. Where is she get up? That's definitely one of the few. Not few. That's definitely one of the things that that kind of aggravates me about this show at some points.
And is basically anybody worth having? Well, anybody that has magic, is there anybody like left like that in Storybrooke? Because Regina's gone, Gold is gone. It's like, you know, who's left that has magic? Anything that would even
Emma.
get in the portal?
Emma,
Oh yeah!
the
Oh my
blue
god!
fairy.
So dumb. Oh my god! So dumb. But she never really could do anything with portals.
I mean,
Right?
what do you mean?
I feel like
What do you
Emma
mean,
could
the
do whatever
blue
she
fairy?
wanted. You know.
She's never opened up a portal before unless she was the dark one.
No, she opened up a portal before.
When?
Remember when her and Hook was stuck in the past? They came back with Marion through the portal. She made that portal with the wand, with the Black Fairy's wand.
Okay, but that's not something she did herself. She needed a tool to do it.
I mean, still, it still counts because magic. You know, her being giftedly magical and things like that. And it doesn't matter how you really use magic in this show in general. Either you use your hands or you use an object. And everybody either does use an object or their hands. I mean,
No. I was thinking I need to watch season 4 again. It's been a while.
they did that. They did that when they went back to the past.
Yeah,
So,
no, I know what you're talking about.
I do want to mention something we were kind of going before I went back to the story here. You had mentioned, Elizabeth, that like why did they put the many years thing in the front of this? Because it shouldn't have been that many years ago, because this would have been at most 9 or 10 years ago, because it's happened while after Regina's left to go to the other realm to be with Henry.
Wait, how do you figure? Because of Lucy?
No. Well, yeah, that's how I figure that, you know, the to present day, that's where we are now, 9 or 10 years. I mean,
and also they never really stressed upon how time really works between Hyperion and Heights.
But like Robin doesn't seem like she's aged at all since like high school to whatever now. So that doesn't make sense.
I said at most.
Although
9
a lot
or
of
10.
people are aging. Regina's not aging. Zelina's not aging. I don't know.
I mean, we've seen Lana Parrilla has played Regina
throughout
like so many angles
than Robin is supposed to be at this point. So I wouldn't, you know, put much credence in that.
Yeah, the show is really good upon playing, you know, other people for their
even Emma or Jennifer Morrison played Emma.
Teenage,
you know,
Emma.
Yeah.
Like later teenage, almost.
Yeah, like 18.
Giving birth to Henry.
Robin it probably is at this point. But anyway, Tony, I saw you adding some notes into the doc as we were talking.
Yeah, so I mean, like this family, and I mean specifically, like between Regina, Zelina, and now Zelina's daughter, it only seems like how anger only works out for this family on how they use magic. You know, you ever seen? Well, if you remember how Cora learned magic. Regina learned how she learned magic, and then you finally come to Zelina learning magic, and then you finally come all the way down to Robin learning magic. It all just seems like this family develops magic out of anger and oppression, because it just seems like, okay, well, them being pushed to the side or being held down by their parents, causes them to act out and to do magic out of anger. I mean, like, it's just so typical. It seems like it's a mill slash, I guess we're going to call Robin's last name was Hood, family trait.
Is that necessarily? Well, actually, never mind. I was gonna have an argument, but never mind.
I mean, like, think about it. They all like, all of their magic comes from their source of anger.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like.
But Ivy isn't family, and she initially started out using magic for like anger purposes. I was gonna mention like Anastasia, but Anastasia is more from fear, so that's different.
Yeah, but I mean from their family. We're not. Yeah. I'm not talking about how Anastasia and Rapunzel. That they're a whole nother story. But but mostly from their point of view, it all comes back. Back to Cora's, to Cora's young childhood or adulthood. Young adulthood. How her magic came from evil, anger, hate.
I guess what I would say is that I wouldn't necessarily say that's where their magic comes from. Mm-hmm. I would say that that's where ultimately, for the greatest part of of their time using magic, that's where they utilized it. And like mother, like daughter. Sins of the father, sins of the mother. Mm-hmm. Daughters. Okay, yes, thank you, Elizabeth. But now you see Regina. I mean, you could almost argue that she's become more powerful, when she uses her power for good.
Mm-hmm. And just think they were all manipulated.
Exactly, by Cora and by by whatever situation they were put in. And exactly. All right.
Oh no, but it all makes sense. All of their magic came from a source, things like that. And for a moment, I guess, later on in the story, if for whatever reason Robin didn't get out from under the clutches of Mother Gothel, that's where her, manipulation of learning magic would have came from. It all would have followed their trait still.
What do you guys think of Mother Gothel, just as, what this show has done with her as a character on the show and whatnot?
She's kind of been mirrored from the story.
But okay, so Elizabeth, do you not like what they've done with the character, or do you just hate the character?
I just hate the character.
Because of the things she's done and everything like that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't like her in the Disney movie Rapunzel, and I don't like her on this show. It's just, and I'm really what?
But no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's fine.
Well, I was just going to say that, like, if you don't like the character and she's a villain, is there anything you would change about the character, or do you like the way they're portraying the character? You understand? I mean, you're supposed to hate the villain.
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, that's not true. There's plenty of people who love villains out there. I'm not one of them.
And there's also sympathetic villains and whatnot. And so I grant you that. But just like do you? The question, like I said, I'm asking is, do you not like the character, or do you not? Do you wish they had done something different with the character?
I don't know how to answer that question because I really haven't thought of it before.
Okay. But I mean, are you having fun, hating this, hating Mother Gothel?
No, yeah. There's been some villains throughout the show's history that I've enjoyed hating. Like in the 6th season, the Evil Queen. I enjoyed that, and I was very, very vocal about how much I enjoyed that. With Mother
You're talking
Gothel,
about like Evil Regal, the twin or whatever.
Yeah, the Evil Queen, the other half of her, whatever, from last year.
I just want to make sure we're making, okay.
Yeah, only last year's take on the Evil Queen. Okay, so Yeah, but with Mother Gothel, she's like a big question mark because I really don't understand what her end game is. What does she really want? What is she after? And I know that it takes a while to develop that story and like figure the characters out. And I'm waiting for that. But she just seems manipulative of everybody. And if she can manipulate someone, she will. And again, I don't know what her goal is. And I think,
understand.
I don't really enjoy her character. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
For the long answer.
That was actually a very good conversation. Just quickly though, the other Tony, Monaco, how do you guys feel about Mother Gothel? Tony.
I agree with Liz. She's certainly manipulating everyone. I think at least at this point, we can pretty much say that she wants her teacher out of the crystal ball.
Madame Leota.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait to get to that. Yes.
Is she doing it because she wants her teacher to go on, to do something with her, or will then Madame What's-Her-Face take over and be the real Leota?
Yes.
Okay, what's she from?
Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
The ride, the movie, yeah.
Like everything they went. I mean, we'll get into that a bit as well. But just Tony though, quickly. What did you? How
do I feel about her? I mean, like, I think no. I think she's good. I mean, the difference between the animated her and this her is that they basically brought her to life in the show. We don't know what her end game is because all she's doing is just manipulating others and trying to be a so-called mother figure in these people's lives. And it's just that, of course, yeah, it's true. We don't know what her end game is. We don't know what she's doing, but she's just being a manipulative person. I mean, now, as of how do I feel about her? I mean, I think she's fine. She's that villain that you can be annoying, like annoyed at, and then you can try to understand why she's being the way she is. But I like her. I mean,
I almost feel like the consensus is that having a problem with her is that we don't know what her motivations are yet.
Right.
And I gotta wonder, why does she call herself Mother Gothel? Because I mean, she's clearly not a mother figure for really anybody if she tries to act like one for a second. And then her true colors really show each time. So I don't understand why did she give herself that nickname? I don't get it, because it's like she's not mothering or nurturing at all.
To endear herself to the people that she tries to manipulate.
Exactly.
Not really working.
To me, I don't know if she's a person either, because if you guys remember, when Zelena came through the portal,
Mother
Nature's spell. What if that's just what she is? It's just a source of magic. Maybe she's a person who's been locked up by that spell, and also I have a point later on too about why it wasn't used beforehand or summoned beforehand, but get to that.
Okay.
But I think I don't know if she's a person or just basically a figure of magic. Maybe, who knows?
All right. There about Mother Gothel. I was just curious how you guys felt about her. In the present, Regina and Zelena look on helplessly as Henry and Jacinda sit at Lucy's bedside. Henry tells them that Lucy's stable, but they still have no clue what's wrong with Lucy. Henry walks away defeated. Zelena points out the dilemma with the whole Henry-Lucy thing, and the sisters decide that they must find a way to save Lucy without harming Henry. At the abandoned house, Gothel tells Anastasia it's time to find a real home, but she just wants her mother. With that, Gothel pulls Belfry from the well and forces her to tell Anastasia all the awful things she's done. Back at the hospital, Zelina calls her daughter to see if she's okay when Gothel appears. Zelina offers a beatdown, but Gothel says she's come to help. She just needs one thing. Okay, for starters, the whole scene there, like I didn't even write down exactly what what exactly the laundry list of things that Gothel told Anastasia about Belfry, or the whole naming thing is confusing. When I was writing these notes, I didn't know whether to call her Belfry or Victoria or Rapunzel or whatever. But anyway, so where was I? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, they like choked us with like how evil Belfry is. Like she killed Cinderella's, or not, Jacinda's father. She poisoned who did she anyway, there's so many different things that they made her do in this half season to like point out she's evil, and then to try to like have her so quickly, yeah.
I'm sorry. What part of that is supposed to surprise you? That's what this show does.
No, I know, but like sometimes they at least try to earn it. At no point did you ever feel like she was remorseful, that she like I don't know, just that like she wanted to be. At no point did that come across, even with Cora, I don't know, I really was put off by the whole Rapunzel, Belfry, whoever, I really did not like that character at all, to be honest with you. And for them to try to redeem her at the last moment was, again, that's just, I'm jumping, to
ahead a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up about like I don't like like the when I heard that laundry list of things and like and then she like even added stuff. It's like Jesus,
Well, like what else could you want?
Yeah, it's like oh jeez. But yeah, so what else did I have to say about these scenes? I don't know. That's really it. Elizabeth, you have something to add, hopefully.
It's more like a question. I'm just really confused as to why, quote unquote, the character Eloise Gardner is so important to Hook and why he defends her so much. Because I remember from the beginning of the season, he was like, he had a dream or whatever of this woman who kind of like saved his life, but that was Emma. That was not Eloise Gardner. So, and I don't know if Hook has just like melded them together in his mind. I don't really understand where this defense of her really comes from.
If I remember
it's just
right,
part of the curse.
I'm
sorry, Monica.
What when Milk was talking about when Eloise disappeared, if I remember right, he said that he had been drinking on the job. He was supposed to be patrolling her neighborhood. That night. And so he blamed himself for her getting kidnapped in the first place.
Right.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't remember.
It's not about her as a person. It's about his guilty conscience.
Should we just call him Nook from now on?
I am.
I am too. Everyone who wants to call him Nook, say I.
Me.
I. The eyes have
it. Tony, did you have something to add on this set of scenes?
I do. So the one thing that I am getting sick and tired of people who call themselves villains in any type of TV show or just moment. I just love how they basically like to manipulate people's thoughts into thinking that, oh, well, he or she did this and they did this and oh my, this is just evil, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, wait a minute. aren't you evil? Don't you like to separate people from the ones who they love? And you are trying to make somebody else look good. I mean, I'm not good, but evil or wicked or whatever. And it just seems like you're trying a heck of a lot more, to manipulate others than to get what you want. But I guess manipulation is, the number one key to the game of being evil, to get what you want. But, but still, it doesn't still justify or anything about how Gothel is, I guess, as a person or as a character, really. I mean, they're both still evil. They're both still evil, period. Belfry and either and Gothel are both still evil. They've done some pretty screwed up things, in the past to get where they are. Even what Belfry did was for her family. It was still evil. And whatever Gothel will do in the future.
For Rumple, and that's why so many people have a hard time with Rumple's redemption, especially with him going back and forth,
Back and forth so many times.
Yeah.
It's like basketball.
Even I had a problem with Regina's redemption to begin with, but it was ultimately won over by the actress more so than and the performance. Yeah, exactly. So and that's one. I think that's always been one of the biggest issues I've had with this show is that the
redemption is so easy.
Yeah, the things that they expect us to allow people to be redeemed for.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just as hard as when you mention about Cora's redemption. That woman did some pretty God, if we had a censor beep.
How many times have I mentioned?
We need one.
She's just done some pretty screwed up things. I mean, how can you separate your daughters? Let them find each other, separate them, and just say, "Oh, love is weakness. You shouldn't care about her just because she's your sister. And you figure it out." Oh, or when she manipulated Zelina,
right? And then
it goes on. The woman was evil.
And then with that character at the end, we're literally just supposed to be her. She just goes, "Oh, this was enough," and this would have been enough for what? Yeah, whatever it is she says. Yeah, and this is that's supposed to, be, no, that wasn't enough.
No, not enough.
No, stop it.
That was more believable than this.
Like Eddie and Adam, stop it.
And they keep saying that,
right.
They keep talking about how it's, talking about showing that people, can be easily led down a path that they don't think that they would be led down.
Mm-hmm.
But that the extremes, it's crazy. And I think, like I said, I think that is one of my biggest issues with the show is the redemptions.
I will add on one thing though before we do leave the topic, or are we going anywhere else throughout this?
Go ahead.
Okay. Somebody, some people may call me crazy. Whoever still listens to us or will try to say something about this opinion.
You're cray. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. I'll say that as a compliment. But as for people who I guess would deserve a redemption, I mean, I really do think Regina, out of all people, did deserve her redemption arcs. I mean, let's think about it. She was fine the way she was. She almost had a very good childhood until her mother found magic and screwed it up for her. I mean, she manipulated her throughout her whole life, saying love is weakness. You can't get anywhere without power. This is how you have to be. You have to be a queen. You have to do what I say or there will be consequences. That's just one person. I think out of everyone who's been through a quote unquote redemption arc would actually, deserve it. If let's say if Regina was down in the underworld and she had a choice between either going to the very bad place or moving on, I think she would deserve to move on to a better place. Exactly. She's deserves it. She's been through, quote unquote, I'm gonna say it, the nicer way, heck and back. She's been through that, you know. She's built up a lot for herself. If anyone, like I said, if anyone would deserve a kind of a redemption arc, the only villain that I can tell you safely is Regina. I mean, everybody else, they have their sticks, you know, everything. But it just seems like out of everyone, I think she would be the most person to actually deserve one. But yeah, it's like it's crazy with these redemption arcs.
Where did Bobby go?
That's a very good question.
Bobby's
no.
gone. Oh my
Bobby
god, we
is
lost
gone.
Bobby. This is the first.
This is definitely a first.
All right, I will take over as leader.
Well, guys, this is interesting. I was going off on a wild tangent, and we lost our director.
Okay, well, I've got
Bobby
the gun.
popped out of the video somehow.
So,
It has, you know, because he's been breaking up a lot, so it has to be an error on his end. Obviously, nothing is fault, but hopefully he'll be back soon. What do we do for now? Because we're live. What do we do? Oh wait, there he is.
We are
there he
live.
is.
Yeah, and who knows?
I see a picture, not him. Where is he?
Yeah, he's coming through if there's a picture there.
Okay.
Eventually.
You know, this is just proof that nothing's perfect. You know, things happen. It's okay. You know, you just go on.
Okay. It is fine.
It's all good.
But yeah, you guys, I mean, seriously though, I mean, for whoever, out of all those characters, out of all those villains that we've had, in my opinion, I think, you know, Regina is kind of like the most out of deserving to have a redemption arc, and she's had hers.
I almost want to argue a little bit for Zelina, just a little bit, just because when Zelina was pregnant, or I think maybe when it was Robin was born, but either way, you know, Regina came to her and said, you know, being a mother is what changed me. And it helped me see that there was more to life, pretty much is what she told her. And I remember at the time, Zelina totally rolled her eyes. I remember that. And didn't really believe her. But I think Regina was 100% correct, because look at how far Zelina's come. She raised her daughter for good, not to be wicked like she threatened to do originally. I mean, you know, so I think Zelina's come a long way too, and I never really thought I'd go to bat for Zelina like I am right now, but that's what's happening.
Evidently, it takes to have children to make a change of life.
Apparently. I don't know. I don't have children, so.
Right.
Bobby's the only one that has children amongst us, I think, right? So, and he can't really vouch for it because he's having technical issues.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much of this is going to go into the show, so we can expound upon a redemption. But I mean, okay, if there was somebody,
if it's getting recorded since he's not here.
Well, it still says we're live, so I think this is still being recorded.
Well, if so, let's stick to the plot. But I mean, as far as redemption arcs go, I guess if I had to let somebody else into that little small circle, I guess Zelina would be, because, and I mean, hey, she's like, she's done some pretty bad things too, you know. Killed, even turned people into monkeys and tried to take over.
I miss you, Bellfire.
Right, I miss you, Bellfire. I will always, even though Captain Swan is definitely not going anywhere ever, even after the show ends. I still to this day liked Swanfire and always will.
Yeah. I know I'm a traitor in that, but at least Anne Marie would call me a traitor, I'm sure.
What about Ursula?
What about Ursula?
You know what?
As far as redeemable.
I mean, hey, she found her father and she's like, "Hey, I love you, Dad."
Oh my god, I totally forgot all about that plot. I was like,
it was so
I remember she was with the other evil people in that group, but I just didn't remember her story really. So.
Oh no, but go on, Monica. Expound upon that.
Well, because once we got her backstory, it didn't really feel. I felt like she was more like Hook in the whole. Yeah, but were you ever really a villain in the first place?
True.
it didn't feel like that much of a slide back into the light.
Mm-hmm.
And what? And as far as adding anyone else to the list, did Maleficent earn her spot?
When you think about it, I mean, she didn't. I would say so too, as well. I guess I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, but hey, it's okay. I didn't think about it because out of all the villains that I've ever liked was Regina. but if you think
I
about
definitely
it,
like her the best too.
yeah. But when you think about it, for redeemable villains, I think Maleficent also, deserved it too. I mean, we don't know what else that she would have done in the Once universe. We know what she's done in in the Sleeping Beauty movie, and she was killed, but back in the show, back in the actual movie. But when you think about it, I guess with her not doing so much in the Once universe, without her doing so much more evil than she could have done, she I guess would be in that circle of redemption too. It all just depend on what the person has done to deserve redemption.
And the less time they spend on the show, the more redeemable they are.
Exactly.
Bobby!
And Bobby's back.
He's crying.
I do not know what happened there.
We can't hear you, Bobby.
Turn your volume up again.
Hold on. You can't hear me.
Nope.
We have
No, we can't really hear you.
Visual.
Turn it up.
But basically, we've just continued talking about redemption
Mm-hmm.
and stalling.
Installing.
Yeah.
Adding people to the redemption circle.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now or no?
You're still really low.
A little better.
Mm-hmm. Turn up the volume of your mic.
It's all the way up.
Oh, you're
there
good. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay.
So what?
Yeah.
So it was still recording the whole time you were gone, Bobby. So we just hung out.
All right, good. That's good. At least we didn't lose any time then. All right, so I do not know exactly what happened there, but hopefully everything will work out in the end.
But no, after I went off on my redemption tangent, we all just started adding in more people to the circle of redemption.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty to talk about as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, what about Ingrid?
Who?
Oh my god.
Ingrid. Season 4, the Ice Queen.
Elsa?
Oh
No.
Not Elsa. Ingrid.
Her name was Ingrid?
Lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Her name was
Elizabeth Mitchell, right?
Yeah. But her name in the show was Ingrid.
Yeah. Of course, I remember her own name.
Uh-huh.
But as for a quick tangent, I guess for a circle of redemption characters, I think she would also be redeemable too. She wasn't bad. All she wanted was sisters.
Whoa, what was that noise?
That was me trying to mess with something. Sorry about that.
It sounded like a sword. I was like, whoa, who's pulling out a sword?
Sorry about that. All right. Thanks for stalling. I hope that doesn't happen again. And let's go ahead on to Act 3. Zelena tells Regina that Gothel came to her. She's offered to help Lucy, but needs the resurrection amulet to do so. Regina says they can't let that happen, and Zelena tells her she only agreed to buy them some time. Flashback to Tiana's palace. Zelena yells at Regina for giving her daughter Cora's spellbook. Regina says it was harmless, but Zelena tells her that Robin used the book to summon Mother Nature, which it turns out is a name Gothel used to go by. Regina offers her help, but Zelena just wants her to stay out of it. She's done enough. Nook hears Gothel and wants in. Zelena's reluctant, but he is persuasive enough for her to allow him to tag along. Back in the present, Weaver tells Rogers the truth about Eloise.
Truth.
into a cult. She rose up the ranks, becoming their leader, and is now doing the same to other girls. Rogers refuses to believe him and chooses to find out for himself. At the hospital, all tests are inconclusive. They just don't know what's wrong with Lucy. For the time being, they would like to test family members for matches should Lucy need a donor of some kind. Nick and Jacinda oblige. Henry looks at Lucy, then her book, and he decides he wants to be tested too. The doctor says if he's not family, a match is a long shot. Henry says even if the chance is small, he wants to try.
Go
Okay.
Henry. Go Henry. Go Henry. Go Henry.
Just two things I wanted to touch on real quick as far as this act was concerned. The whole she's young, we all experimented, it's no big deal. In most of these stories, magic usually is an allegory or an allusion to illicit substances of other kinds. And so,
I didn't even think of that.
So true.
and so I just thought that was kind of, it's no big deal. Everyone experiments. It's I just thought it was cool.
I really didn't even go there in my mind.
Well, again, this is just almost any fictional story like this on TV. Going back to Buffy. Where's the Buffy bell? In the 6th season of Buffy, when Willow
Ding, ding,
I put $1 in the jar, Bobby.
Mhm.
when Willow went off the deep end on the dark magic, that the whole thing was about drug addiction and whatnot, really was what it was about. And usually when these stories are having people dealing with magic, even Rumple, it may not be drugs, but it's about addiction. It's about his addiction to the power that magic brings him.
Yeah.
And it took Xander telling her how much he loved her to bring her back.
Mhm.
But then beyond that, the other thing I wanted to mention was
Bobby, you're breaking up really bad.
I'm
Your
breaking
mic.
up now.
Your
Yep.
mic, you sound staticky. Well, that's a nice
what-
bud. Oh, you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're good.
Apparently
You're good.
now I need a new mic. No, but I did want to.
Uh-oh.
No, I feel like there's I feel like there is a lot I feel like there's a lot of truth to it.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe he's telling Rogers this version of the truth, but it really is because the sacrifice, the ritual, most of the stuff he was talking about was true. He just didn't tell him that this cult was a coven of witches, and excuse me. But anyway, so see in the future, obviously it's only 8 more episodes now because we're not going to get any future beyond that.
Mhm.
But
or unless the finale does superb and we are all of a sudden allowed a 13 more episode season.
I very seriously doubt that.
As do
again,
I. I was just calling
yeah.
some little bit of hope.
I hear you. There's always hope, I guess, especially in a show like this.
I love
anyway,
how dismissive you were.
those were the two things I wanted to touch upon in this act. Elizabeth, you had something to add.
Well, I gotta get excited again. Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm
Suck it
sad.
out.
No, I'm sorry. I really wasn't trying to do that.
It's my favorite show. Okay, so basically, I'm just really excited that Henry wanted to get tested and fight for Lucy and fight for his, even though he doesn't know it's his daughter, I was still so excited about that. And yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you were squealing as I was saying it in the breakdown.
Yeah.
Tony, did you have anything to add?
I was just going to let Monica go first because mine's a little long.
Oh, okay, Monica.
I was just super excited about the Nick versus Henry blood test.
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
Looking
Sorry.
forward as to whether or not it would come out. So,
And
yeah.
we still don't know if it will or not. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure it
we
will
don't know where those
eventually,
papers
but
went.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and we'll get to that eventually as well. But and so Tony, apparently you have a rather lengthy response.
Yeah, so we all know how lengthy my responses can be, but yeah, I felt the same way. I think we all felt the entire same way that okay, yay, finally there's some breakthrough with Henry getting tested, for his daughter and everything. But now here's my question. About again going to that Mother Gothel / Mother Nature spell. I'm wondering why wasn't it mentioned in the earlier seasons when Korra was carrying around that book? Like why didn't she mention about that type of spell in there? I guess or what if Regina would have found that and maybe Mother Gothel would have been on the show sooner? I always thought about that. And also maybe with Korra, using that spell as well. Maybe she could have used that. So, and then also she wouldn't have learned that love is weakness. With that whole ordeal or manipulative way that she raised Regina on. But that was just basically it. I mean, like, and also with Regina just leaving Robin the keys to the vault. Don't we all think that was kind of irresponsible, kind of, depending on all the stuff that's down there, even though people say that we've experimented or something like that?
Well, she's just being cool at Regina.
That's what it seemed like. Shoot, that's what it seemed like.
My first reaction when Zelina was like, "How did you get down here?" Or what? My first reaction was like, "Blood magic."
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Regina didn't leave you nothing. You're her niece. I mean, it's not.
Figure it out. You'll figure it out.
It's blood magic, and then they went whatever way they did. But in reality, and I guess they had to do that because, like, it, the whole, now it's showing the whole, Kelly. I keep wanting to say Jackie for some reason. But the Kelly and Ronnie relationship mirrors the Regina and Zelina relationship, because Kelly blamed Ronnie for, and I don't even know. I was trying to figure this out. What is Kelly's daughter's name? That's Robin. What's Robin's real name, or not real name? You know what I mean?
I don't know if they've revealed that actually.
Did they not? Because I kept trying to figure it out, and then even in this show, and the one time where they might have mentioned it was when Zelina was calling her, and she goes, "Darling," is all. That's all she says. She says, "Darling, I just wanted to try to get a hold of you. I wanted to hear your voice," or whatever she says, but she never says.
She never said
her
no
name.
name.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave her a cursed persona. To be honest with you,
she might have one, but I think it's kind of interesting that she's in Phuket.
Things that they stopped doing. I think there were a lot of things that they had planned on doing, but are now just trying.
Their desperate selves
to what they've already, to wrap up what they've already put out there.
I don't understand why she's in Phuket, but to be honest, I don't think she's actually in Phuket. Like, I think she's probably somewhere closer, and they just haven't shown her yet.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that was probably what's the word I'm looking for? That was just probably the explanation, saying, "Oh, she's in Phuket."
Yeah, that's like the
excuse.
Yeah. I think she was hooked up in the curse too, so she's got to be somewhere.
Definitely.
We'll find out sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah,
there's no later.
There ain't no later.
I'm sorry.
Talk about evil.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's no later.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Ivy mocks Belfry as she attempts to escape from the pit. After a few failed attempts, she uses her shoe to trigger the rope, allowing her and Ivy to climb out. At Ronnie's, Zelina complains to Regina about the decor. Apparently, this used to be their bar. Regina tells her she thinks the amulet may be somewhere in the bar, and they begin to search. Flashback to Nook and Zelina in the other realm attempting to find Gothel. They come to a clearing in the woods, and Nook reads his map once more to locate the invisible door that leads to the curio shop known as Memento Mori. As they search the shop, a mysterious voice seems to narrate this. Your head in a ball, a powerful witch known as Madame Leota. Leota seals their way out and begins to kill them when Robin intervenes. Zelina tells her they've come to save her, but Robin doesn't need saving. She chose to be here and she's not leaving. Robin stays with Gothel and literally shows them the door. At Gothel's hovel, Belfry and Ivy escape the pit, and Belfry wants to end their feud and asks Ivy to help find Anastasia. Ivy sees it for what it is and asks Belfry why she can't love her. Belfry says she never did anything to deserve it. Ivy tells her the lanterns that guided her home were her idea and not Anastasia's. Let me see. Meanwhile, Gothel has brought Anastasia to her apartment. She attempts to comfort her, and they are startled by a knock on the door. To calm down and hide. Rogers lets himself in when no one answers. As he apologizes, he notices two settings at the table and begins to snoop around. Gothel distracts him by breaking a dish and asks him to walk her to her art therapy as Anne appears out of the closet.
Can I have the floor for a second?
Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so Madame Leota is a character from the Haunted Mansion attraction at Disney World, Disneyland, and so her character, if you've ever been on the attraction, is just a floating head, and she says, so basically when I said the intro about there's no doors and no windows, that is a quote from when you enter the Haunted Mansion when you're going inside the attraction. So I'm just saying this for people who may be listening who don't know what this is going on. So that's where the character comes from. And then I think it was like in 2003, I want to say, there was a Haunted Mansion movie starring Eddie Murphy, and they did kind of a comical take on the Haunted Mansion. I own this movie. I love it. But it did not garnish good reviews. And I have heard rumors that they are trying to revamp, make a new movie of the Haunted Mansion, much darker. I have no idea much about the rumor because I've tried to Google it and I can't find much. But I think it is something in the works. And I look forward to that. But yeah, Madame Leota is this like medium, like magical woman who's ahead in the ball. So, you know, but she's like, her presence on the ride or the attraction is a very powerful one. She has this, she's very, I mean, I could quote her honestly, but I won't. I actually had to look up the quote for the Haunted Mansion. So everything I said earlier, like I found the whole attraction, like everything that's said on the attraction, I found it on this website. It was really cool. But yeah, so sorry, I'm like going off.
Fine.
But
I know, it's cool.
Yeah, no, so this is like a really cool part of the ride, and in the room that she's in, it's very black and dark, and there's all these things like dangling trumpets and all kinds of instruments, and during Christmas when they change the ride around, and it represents the Nightmare Before Christmas, and they mix the two. In her room, there's a bunch of zodiac cards floating. So so it's always like really, I mean, I know it sounds strange technically, but you really can't even see it. It's like well hidden. So it's a really creepy room within the Haunted Mansion, one of the many creepy rooms in the Haunted Mansion. And yeah, so basically the moment, I mean, to be honest, when Hook is trying to find the door and he's like the way he was walking and trying to to these big steps, I found that really comical. I think it's really kind of silly how he was approaching it. But once he like found the door and they were entering and I heard this voice speaking, I knew right away that was Madame Leota because I've grown up in California and I've gone to the Haunted Mansion so many times as I've grown up. So I knew right away what that voice was. And to that point, even in the intro, when the Once Upon a Time name comes up, you see a face on the big O. And I knew that was Madame Leota right away. So I got like so excited about this episode because I love the Haunted Mansion. And I think I'm done with the floor.
It's pretty cool.
Did you know before the episode, you know how sometimes we'll know that, oh, this character is supposed to come up or whatever. Did you know this was going to be happening?
I knew a little bit only because I had posted the trailer for the episode or the preview for the episode on Greetings from Storybrooke like a couple days ago. So I had seen the preview once, and I think I heard the voice, or I don't know if we saw the floating head or not. Maybe we did briefly. So I knew it was coming, but I was so excited that they're touching on this because I love that attraction.
I noticed the thing in the O at the beginning, but I just thought it was Gothel in there for some reason. I wasn't paying attention. And so when it got to the scene, like I was very surprised, like I had no idea that was happening. And then, like you just said, as soon as the whole, the voice started talking or whatnot. I mean, I live in Florida. I lived in California, but I mean, been to Disney enough. I know, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was
but
very
we have
surprised.
Two Midwesterners here that may not, so that's why I felt like I needed.
I was very surprised and pleased.
I knew about Haunted Mansion already.
I wasn't trying to being rude or anything.
Memento Mori is actually the name of the shop that opened in the 2000s to sell Haunted Mansion merchandise.
Wait, is that at Disney World? We don't have that at Disneyland.
Yeah, it's a shop. Yeah.
See, thank you. I didn't know that part.
Gotta love how this show does pay homage to a lot of attractions.
Yeah, oh yeah, they went all out as far as the Haunted Mansion homage this week. They definitely went all out. But anyway, it was very, very cool to see you very excited about Leota there. I always like to see when, I believe you kind of had the same reaction when they did the Aladdin episode. Yeah.
Be still my heart. Be still my heart. I love you, Aladdin.
The only thing I had to add about this, the only thing really I had to point out, I'm sure I'll add to discussion, but when Zelina mentioned the only thing you're finding are a couple of swirly how did she put it? Something about the home of some swirly chipmunks or something like that. For some reason, I felt like that was like a nod to Chippendale.
I thought that too. I really did.
Yeah, so I really don't think that was I don't think that was lost. I think that was actually, if you caught it too, I do think that, Tony just said, they definitely, go out of the way to pay homage to Disney. Anyway, Tony, do you have something to add?
I do. So I'm probably not going to be the only one who agrees to this, but I think the shoe was was complete bogusness. Unrealistic. I mean, I like Belfry's accent. I like the actual person who plays her. I love her accent sometimes, and she kind of incorporates that into her character and things like that. Well, she always does it the way she speaks, but I thought the shoe was complete bogusness and unrealistic. And I really wish they would have made it seem a little bit more realistic by having her try both shoes. If she tried to do it with both shoes and it made it on the second shoe, I would have liked that scene a little bit more. But then I was like, you know what? I'm sorry, but this is complete bogusness. I thought it was unrealistic as ever. I mean, I was like, wow.
Granted, the show's only 45 minutes long, but still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have no idea what it's like to own a Louis Vuitton, and I probably never will. And I don't actually need that shoe. I really don't. I don't even like it. But I think that the fact that she hit it on the first try is like, wow, she's got good aim. But even
Right.
then, it's like, most really rich women, I cannot see them trying to throw their shoe to like, but then, desperate times, desperate measures, if she had to scoff her shoe to like get out of there, I guess it's worth it.
Now, I guess the shoe must have been heavy enough to hit the latch, but I mean, because the way she threw it, it seems like she said, "Okay, guys, I'm going to throw the shoe." At the other people at the top
Watch
of
your head.
the hole, right? Like, watch your head, and then she tosses the shoe, and then the crew person who caught the shoe probably must have had like a green suit on, and they hit it with the shoe.
Why you really thought this through, Tony?
Right. I feel like Fred did his job today the right way.
Oh.
Who's Fred?
I think Fred did
What's going on?
Okay, so Fred, if you remember, everything that's unexplainable.
Yeah,
and,
anytime there's like a bad plot hole or something
yes, we call that Fred.
He's like the crew member who like messes everything up. It's just something
Are we talking about this show or just in general?
And we on this show, on our show, like on Greetings from Storybrooke, whenever something, we decided, I don't know, like quite a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I must have not been there for that one because I don't remember.
But it was. We decided that like if there's like a bad writer, it's all Fred.
Yeah, it's Fred. It's Fred's fault. But also, the other points here I put on. You all know me. I love Regina's one-liners, but today's Zelina on the number one liner. Dirty hippie witch beep, because I can't say the word, but I'm gonna put a beep in there. But I really didn't think that one liner that she put into the show, would actually top one of Regina's one-liners before. I mean, and of course, the level of sass, because you know how she was when they were in Neverland. She's like, "That's right, charming, fillet the bee." I was like, I both love their one-liners, and especially Zelina's new one-liner for Hook, Nook. It used to be Guyliner. It used to be Captain Guyliner, but now it's Nook. That takes the place of Captain Guyliner. So I love this.
Nook was like invented sooner because we've been struggling with what to call him all year.
True.
I wish that would have been like made sooner.
Exactly, but I mean, when you think about it, it wouldn't have made sense on the real Hook, with this being a different, the same character but different characteristics.
No, I'm just talking about this season.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Nook is so cool, funny. So,
and Monica, you had a few things to add as well.
The monkey with the symbols, and that thing always creeps me out.
Wasn't that in Gold's pawn shop as well?
I thought it was.
Probably.
Oh my god, I think it was. Oh, that's an homage to Gold Shop.
And just Zelina walks in, and of course there's a monkey. Why wouldn't there be?
Why wouldn't there be a monkey?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like front and center on Gold's counter.
Awaken spirits with your tambourine. Right? I think that was the line she said, and that's when that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
No, a bell. Something about like.
No, the ringing the bell was the other one.
Okay.
It was an actual bell.
All right.
I thought it was cool.
And I've never hated Belfry more than when she told Ivy she had never done anything to deserve to be loved.
Yeah, and that
hated that.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that even in this episode, they're making you hate her. And there's nothing like it would almost like what they should have been doing in this episode before what she ultimately ended up doing. What they should have been doing is showing that like what she was doing was tough love and not necessarily like it wasn't that she hated Drusilla. It was that she felt like she was trying to, force Drusilla. You understand what I'm saying?
I call bull. That's not tough love.
The way they should have played it. Is what he was saying.
To try to justify the way that she has been acting. They should, like, even though they only had an episode to do it, they should have tried at the very least to show that she was trying to implement some form that she thought of as tough love. But in the end, but really all they did was double down when they, the scene that Monica was just mentioning, where she said, where Ivy's like, how come you never looked at me with love? And she's like, because you never did anything to deserve it. That's rough.
But I realized I had a point. Is this the point you were talking about that I wrote later, but we're really discussing it right now?
Oh, go ahead.
Because, okay, so I have to look at it, but
well, we actually are kind of going a little on the notes anyway.
Okay. Should I talk about it now or no? Because we're kind of talking about her, so.
If you want to go, I mean, I think you're probably talking about when she actually sacrificed herself.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So my thought, if Ivy in that scene where they're trying to rescue themselves from the well, so basically Ivy tells her mom, that pedestal that you put Anastasia on for the floating lanterns. Yeah, that was all my idea. And like the way she said it and everything, you could see in Ivy's mother's eyes that she was like, oh crap, I had like no idea, And I think that's where basically she started to realize, what, I have overlooked this daughter in front of me. But if Ivy hadn't had said that to begin with, I really question whether the rest of the show would have played out like it did. I really don't feel like what ends up happening would have happened if Ivy hadn't said that, because there was just so much strife between the two. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I mean, like, I think that would have been the beginning of their relationship getting better throughout time, because one thing that I've noticed that TV shows do is that when a person does something against another person, it shows what they've done, and then they either catch it or they don't, or they figure it out later or they won't. And then once they figure it out, it's like, okay, now, like, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? And then when a person notices their mistake, then it takes them a few episodes for the person to actually forgive them. Like, if you remember back when it finally came out to the light that Snow and David lied to Emma about something. It was something about with Lily. Exactly. You remember how it took her a couple episodes to forgive them for that. And if the show had a little bit more to go on, like a little bit more episodes to go, I think that their relationship would have been better off before the end of the season, But with it being so short on time, and she's quote unquote technically dead, for now at least. Spoiler. I don't feel. I feel like if they try to mend their relationship now, to me it will seem forced. But then again, they're not going to have much choice with it being so close to the end and all. To mend their relationship. So like it'll just seem like it'll be all rushed more than anything by the time it gets finished. Awkward silence.
No,
it's only awkward when you're calling it.
Yeah. I just don't really know if there's anything to add, that I have anything to add. But definitely good points all around. Moving on. Jacinda asks the doctor about the results. She says she will tell them as soon as the results come in. Jacinda asks Henry how he dealt with losing his family, and he assures her that Lucy will be okay. Rogers returns to Weaver. He's still not sure about the cult thing, but Eloise is definitely hiding something. Weaver shows him a list of greenhouses and tells him the cult will use one of the locations to carry out a ritual sacrifice, and they have to stop them before someone gets hurt. Flashback to the other realm. Nook tries to convince Zelena to go back for Robin. She says she has no magic, and Nook tells her the girl needs her mother. Back in Hyperion Heights, Regina and Zelena continue to search for the amulet. It seems like it's nowhere to be found. Zelena finds a sign for the old pub. The sisters share a moment before Zelena breaks the sign, revealing the amulet. Okay, so again, just one thing I have to add here before we carry on conversation is do you guys notice the little bit of foreshadowing there?
With the soda.
Jacinda, yeah, the soda. When Jacinda, talking to the doctor, she's like, I know what you're thinking. These things will kill you. Anyway.
I didn't pick up on that, to be honest.
No, you know what? I didn't either, but it's
anyway.
Her death was kind of funny.
Yeah. I forgot to mention at the top of the episode. This episode was directed by Mick Garris. He's a famous horror director. He directed Sleepwalkers, but he also directed Hocus Pocus. That's what I was waiting for.
Really?
Yeah.
I love Hocus Pocus.
Still waiting for the reboot.
I put a spell on you. Okay,
but anyway, so
now you're
that was a cool little thing, that wanted to mention. I knew the Hocus Pocus connection would thrill Elizabeth, so I wanted to hear.
That's true. It thrilled me too. Every Halloween I watch that movie.
Heck yeah.
All right. Anyway, so I guess that's really all I had to say for now. Again, I'll add to the conversation as we go on. Elizabeth, do you have anything to add?
No.
So my thought. Oh no, okay? That was where you got. So okay.
Yeah.
That was okay. So apparently, no one has notes for this section.
I almost did.
We don't care about this scene, apparently.
I almost did. It was going to be very short, but
no, and this was one of the shorter acts anyway, so there really wasn't much to add. So that was a good spot for me to put in my little Mick Garris Easter egg there. So anyway, cool. Moving on, we flash back to Memento Mori. Robin is psyched to finally get to do a resurrection spell. Little does she know they need her soul for the resurrection. She lies in pain on the floor when Nook and Zelena show up at the last minute. Zelena offers to take her place. Zelena crumples over in pain when Robin uses an enchanted arrow to knock the amulet from Gothel's hand. Nook dives for the amulet and Gothel vanishes with Leota. Zelena apologizes to Robin for holding her back. Robin just wants to get out of there. Back at Ronnie's, the sisters have found the amulet, but the celebration is short-lived. Belfry shows up and takes Gothel. Belfry brings the amulet to Gothel to save Lucy. Gothel uses Anna to refill the amulet and summons Ivy to complete the resurrection spell. Okay, so two things to add real quick. Number one, I didn't even put it in notes here, but I was just thinking about it as I read it. Where are we at here? Sorry, don't worry about that. I don't even remember what I was going to say, so we will just forget that. And I will say, do we think she totally drained Anna?
Well, Anna's magic.
Well, that's what I mean.
I don't think so. She could have drained her all the way.
Well, she did totally drain Robin earlier in the episode. So do we think she totally drained her, or do we think Anastasia was magical enough that she probably still has magic in her?
I think she still has magic in her because not only did she had hers, but she also has Ivy's. So maybe think of it as a cup. Her magic's at the bottom, Ivy's at the top. So maybe she just think of it as a cup.
Okay, then.
Never mind.
All right. Elizabeth, you had anything to add?
Yes. Okay. So, wait. I think I put that comment too soon. So yeah, never mind. I will save that comment.
Yeah, that might have been the comment I was mentioning earlier when I said that I thought it was out of place. Okay, darn it! I wish I could remember what I wanted to mention there, but
does it have to do with a certain character?
We'll move on. Flashback to the other realm. Robin and Zelina have escaped Memento Mori with the amulet and Robin's magic. Robin says she no longer wants magic, but she's going to take up archery. Oh, now I remember. I'm sorry. I do want to mention something real quick. When earlier in the other scene, when Gothel is touring Robin through the scene or through the curio shop, she shows her one thing, which is an arrow that will hit anything it's meant to.
Oh wait, that arrow was in the 3rd season, wasn't it?
Well, probably another version of it because
Robin.
That was
Like his father's. Her father.
Well, yeah, it's the same exact. Yes, it's the arrow that Robin. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's that arrow, or at least probably some version of it. But and then she is the one thing that she picks up and is able to defeat Gothel with.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was stupid. But anyway, sorry.
I thought you were going to say that it was good. They have put that in there.
I saw you guys were talking about how earlier it was like, it's like why would you show her that, first of all, and second of all, like the one thing like, oh, check out all this stuff, see this thing, you're going to use this in a few minutes,
right, to defeat me. Foreshadowing. Maybe
anyway.
I think it was used the wrong way, but yes, it was kind of dumb.
Just a little bit of lazy writing at the very least, I felt.
They said, "Hi, you guys, it's almost over. Should I write in something like very quick? Okay, fine." And
that's how I feel the rest of the season is going to go. Unfortunately, I do feel like it's going to be them trying to make everything go. So like they were going to draw things out and make things happen. There will be things that weren't going to happen that will happen. Things that won't happen that they've already set up. But that's par for the course for the show, unfortunately, for the most part, as far as the setting up things that never get paid off. Anyway, I'm not going to keep spelling haterade on the show.
I mean, what can they do?
Let me go ahead and start back from the act here. Flashback to the other realm. Robin and Zelina have escaped Memento Mori with the amulet and Robin's magic. Robin says she no longer wants magic. She's going to take up archery. She offers the amulet to her mother. Zelina touches the amulet and is magic once again. Back at the greenhouse, Gothel starts the resurrection spell. Belfry watches as Ivy doubles over in pain. Belfry did not realize the extent of her agreement. When she sees Ivy being sacrificed, she pushes her out of the circle and steps in her place, giving her life for Lucy and Ivy. At the hospital, Lucy wakes up as if nothing had happened. Regina and Zelina see everyone celebrating around Lucy and realize that someone must have sacrificed themselves. Meanwhile, Weaver and Rogers arrive at the greenhouse, but they're too late. They find Ivy holding Belfry in her lap. They ask her if she's okay, but she's not sure. Across the town, the doctor finally gets the results of the blood test and finds that Henry, not Nick, is the father. He takes a drink and immediately gags and falls over. She's been poisoned. An unseen person cuts her hair and grabs the results before stepping out. Okay, so obvious questions here. Obviously,
I already know what's going to happen.
Oh, what? You've like read ahead or something, or you just
No, I have a perfect theory for this, and it's very short.
Okay.
It's very short.
I will say real quick that I read that like this is like the new thing going forward. It's going to be that there's a person in Hyperion Heights that is not cursed, or remembers, who they are, and so they will be, for some reason, have a vendetta against witches, and will be killing witches.
What did I miss? Because I totally lost internet connection.
Oh, I'm not sure where you dropped off at, but basically, I was just saying that I totally lost my mind connection. I don't know what I was saying. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh no.
Oh Jesus, I'm tired. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was saying. That they said that there's going. Okay, we just discussed the last scene, saying that okay, and then I said that I read that there are going to for the next few episodes. There's a Hyperion Heights resident who remembers their past selves. They're not cursed, and they for some reason have a vendetta against witches, and so that's who is offing witches. And that's who just killed this doctor. I guess that's what that's what I read.
That destroys my little theory that I was gonna do.
Right?
That's what I read.
Developing a theory myself.
Hey, that's what I read. I could be, this is one of those TV scoop things, and I don't know this. It's not like I talked to Adam and Eddie.
Oh, we know you do.
But I mean, let's just forget that, and let's just come up with like, who do you think just?
Who do we think?
Yeah,
you cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. My theory offhand would be like maybe Ivy. There was that whole thing there where she definitely didn't look okay when they asked her if she was okay. So I mean, I guess gun to my head, I would probably go with Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
As for why, I don't know. Why did they cut the doctor's hair? And as far as my theory there is, the only thing I could think of is to create a glamour spell so that whoever killed the doctor can impersonate the
theory.
I'm so sorry.
You took my theory.
I'm sorry.
You took my theory.
Great minds, Tony. Great minds think. I wasn't trying to. I was just.
Next time, Tony, write it down in the doc, so then Bobby won't say nothing.
Regardless, we all know Bobby goes first with his opinion, then you, then me, then Monica.
Well,
that's
I'm
how
sorry.
it goes.
I'm sorry.
No, but I will add to that. I'm thinking, to go along with your theory, I'm thinking that it was going to be Gothel glamoring as the doctor, so she can keep the curse going along and suck out the hope of everyone else and say, oh yeah, so Nick is the baddie and blah blah blah, and everything's going to be going on from there. That's what I was thinking, because it can't be Ivy, because Ivy doesn't have magic right now. She can't just be like, okay, well, I got the ingredient, so let me mix the potion. You can't mix potion if you're not magical.
Well, there's only what? I mean,
Zelina may have her magic, but then also, if you remember,
but does she have magic there though?
Right. I was going to just say that Zelina mentions about not having magic from earlier in the first part of the episode. When in doubt, she got Robin's magic. So the thing is, you know how it is basically in this show, when you go to a different realm, your magic all of a sudden works, but then it doesn't. Maybe it's the other way around.
But that's what I'm saying, is that Regina's magic didn't work in Hyperion Heights, but it does work in wherever they were at before. I don't know. Well, no,
I mean, when they came to, when her and Hook came through the portal, her and Hook proper came through the portal, and she did a magical force push, and then afterwards she couldn't do magic for some strange reason for a second, and then it works again. Maybe it's at that point where it's like, okay, the only person who we know who has magic and it does work is Gothel.
Okay.
Boy.
It could be Gothel.
Boy.
Go ahead.
You got the floor.
Okay.
Sorry, let's go ahead.
No, it's okay. I really just disagree with both of you right now.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Jesus.
It's cool. I mean, it's good. It's good that we have Monica.
I kind of already forgot what Bobby said about what he read about. So I'm so sorry. That's my small mind, but
No, you're fine.
my memory. But okay, so whoever poisoned the doctor, poison is not necessarily a magical thing. It's a very human thing to poison people. So I don't
True.
necessarily think it is someone magical. And my theory is that it's either Robin or Nick that poisoned the doctor. Now the hair part throws me off. I don't know why anybody would want her hair, and the glamour thing is very
Exactly,
it's a
that was the
possibility.
magic part.
But
That was
I
the
just
magic part.
okay, like Nick is like supposedly Henry's friend from like they met I don't know when, you know, and then
I don't think
Robin,
so.
we haven't
Jack the
seen
Giant
Robin.
Killer, right?
What?
Nick is Jack the Giant Killer.
Yeah, no, wait.
Well, Nick is this world's Jack the Giant Killer.
I don't know.
Okay.
The story,
Yeah,
I don't care.
but then he's not magical, so I don't think.
No, he's not magical. He's just a person. But like Elizabeth just said, she doesn't think that the person that killed the doctor necessarily has to be magic.
Yeah, and then Robin, we haven't like seen her in Hyperion Heights yet. We have no idea what's become of her. So maybe something has twisted her. Maybe she's part of the curse, or you know, I don't know. It's just because we haven't seen her character yet. I think it's possible that maybe she's involved somehow. Because honestly, at first I really thought the doctor was gonna like switch the test results or something, but that's not what happened. But I was surprised that the doctor was offed. But I was really happy that that at least they were true about the blood. It's blood. It's test results, so I'm glad that they were honest about that part. But as far as like who took the papers and all that, I think it's Nick more than Robin, honestly. Because where was he? He was like had one little scene in the show, and then where's he the rest of the time? What's he up to?
I mean, I guess that makes perfect sense when somebody is there in the beginning of a scene and then all of a sudden they just kind of like just exit stage right a little bit. they mosey out of the scene without us noticing. So I don't know. But the only thing that made me seem like it was magical was taking the hair. If the person did not, if the person just poisoned the doctor and took the papers, then that would have been fine. But they not only poisoned the doctor, but they took hair.
Maybe they're a serial killer and they need a memento.
For what?
That's just
a serial killer.
That's just a
psychopath.
psychopath.
Most of them always keep a memento. I've seen enough documentaries.
Yeah, there was definitely like there was a reason they showed them cutting the her hair like that. It's like
for some reason we just don't know.
And also, I don't. You know what? I'm sorry, but I have to go back on your argument with Robin. Also, you remember, she's no longer magical. So she if she was glamoring up as a doctor or if she was taking the hair for some kind of ingredients to a potion, she does not have magic. Now maybe she did meet somebody magical outside of all of this. So who knows? It could still be her, but then I'm 100% thinking that it cannot be Robin. Just for the simple fact that she's no longer magical.
I also don't think that they'll send Robin down that path. I think that when Robin does come on the show, because like I feel like when Robin comes on the show, that they'll mostly utilize her with Alice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know they want to develop that love story, so
as well as
that's also going to be rushed. Horribly, and you know how
fortunately all of us left is going to be rushed. Oh, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Monica, did you have anything to add before we close out the episode? Close out.
No, everything's been covered. So Henry was confirmed parent. Yay!
It's just unfortunate that he doesn't know that now. Yeah. And just quickly, who do you think? Do you agree with one of us? Do you think someone else?
My first thought was that it, with the hair, it has to be someone.
There's a reason for taking the hair,
or taking it for someone who's a magic user.
True.
But, those options are pretty limited at this point. So.
Well, I mean, there's also option C of
new character.
someone we haven't met yet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
who knows?
So if we meet someone in the first 5 minutes of the next episode,
definitely.
Case closed.
Case closed. We are all going to message each other and say, "We knew it. We knew it. It's somebody magical."
Anywho, that does it for the episode proper. Yes. So I think we're gonna go into ratings.
Oh, I forgot.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. As far as the rating, yeah, okay. I was talking about our ratings, but go ahead if you go ahead and look at the ratings of on a scale of
This is funny. I just saw it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, on a scale.
I wasn't even.
What? You got a scale?
No. The scale. I saw it.
No, that's on the dock. I came up with that.
Yeah, it's
on the dock.
Yeah, it's on.
I didn't even go down that far.
127 bottles of poison sodas.
Oh, okay, that'll work.
I just thought
I don't want to go anywhere near that vending machine.
Right? Because who knows when it was poison.
On a scale of 127 bottles of poisoned soda, all right, Tony, what do you give this week's episode?
$119.
Okay, I thought you were about to say 1. I was like, man, what is that?
Look! I sprayed a little bit of hate. I sprinkled haterade on this episode. I didn't douse it.
119 is not bad out of 127. And to be honest with you, you know, there were loopholes abound, I will say, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Definitely. I mean, like I think it was like the first episode where it's like, okay, this is an introduction of what season 7 is going to be about. Well, this is an introduction of what the rest of the episode is going to be about.
Monica, what did you want to give this episode out of 127 bottles?
76.
Oh wow, she's going haterade this week. Okay,
it was more of a.
She drank it.
She
when
gave
I
it a
went
whooping.
to watch it the second time, I ended up calling a friend and talking to her for a couple hours because I really didn't want to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
I was bored with it already.
Now see, we need you to speak like that in here. You were so quiet tonight.
Yeah.
We need
because
that
the
talk.
show left me so bored.
Yeah, sometimes you have nothing to talk about.
Yeah. Remember? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
Remember when Bill and Ann were doing the show, and we left voicemails about our honest opinion, especially Bobby here. We left his honest opinions, where he doused a couple episodes, you know, in his recordings. But yeah, we need that. We need that input.
And you can always like message us or call us. Heck, I talk to Tony all the time about my crazy theories.
Hey.
All right.
Speak up. Hashtag speak up.
Elizabeth, what do you want to rate this episode?
118.
Okay, so right there with Tony. And to be honest with you, I'm probably right there with you guys. I'm gonna say maybe 114. I mean, you know, I'm right there with you.
Y'all are in the low 90s.
Yeah, like I said, I more or less like this episode. There were definitely some things that I would have changed, particularly in the writing. I feel like, but I mean, we also, you know, we know that they have a lot on their plate trying to, you know, tie up loose ends that they had started, and you know. I'm sure they probably already had scripts, you know, written that they had to go back and rewrite, you know. Yeah. So,
I mean,
But for the most part, no, go ahead.
Oh no, what I was going to say, especially on how they thought that season 7 wasn't even going to be a thing when on how they ended season 6 off with.
Yeah.
So they had to.
So let's just get into it. Did you happen to look?
I have the ratings. Oh,
that's what I was just. No, you're fine. You're
yeah,
fine.
I have the ratings.
Okay, Elizabeth, do you happen to have the ratings? All right, can you go ahead?
Yes, Bobby, I do.
Go ahead.
So it saddens me to say that the ratings have continued to dip. So basically, I have like the whole season's ratings in front of me, and we started with 3.26 million viewers in October with a 0.7. So this is like out of the ages 18 to 49. Now we're at a 0.4 with 2.14 million viewers. So it's really dipping, and it like physically hurts me.
Oh God!
Well, I definitely feel like the announcement had a lot to do with it falling down below 0.5.
Y'all need to stay loyal.
Right. Hashtag stay loyal.
Have some faith in your show. Let it end, and don't just give up on it.
So we'll just say the news real quick. No, you're fine. You're fine. I posted in our messenger earlier that Granny will be coming back, and we'll be getting a lot of that through from what I've read throughout the they're trying to reach out to old actors. Like I'd be upset if Drumpy didn't make another appearance.
What's his face?
Hopper.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if Grumpy comes out of nowhere and like he's in Hyperion Heights and he's like, something's on fire?
Yeah.
Right. Wait. What about Nova coming out of nowhere and then they're finally getting their happy ending?
Oh,
that would be so good.
I feel like there's gonna be I feel like there's gonna be a little bit of that. There will be. I feel like there will be some some shout outs to fans to, but they've also already said that like don't expect like a grand dramatic like finale ending. Like think of this more of like a spiritual end. I mean, and this is what gets me upset about it, to be honest with you. I have mixed feelings. On one hand, I wish they had just ended it after last season.
I'm right there with you.
Because I feel like
that was it.
I feel like I have actually enjoyed this.
Oh no!
Oh my God, we lost Bobby again!
Not again!
Oh my God! So this is an interesting night.
Yes. Well, hey, you guys. Well,
we lost Bobby again.
At least
we noticed when he drops out. When I dropped out, none of y'all noticed me leaving.
I did, but everyone was still talking, and then you came back. And I was like, okay.
Hey. No, I noticed you came back. I did not notice when you left.
Thanks, Tony. I love you too. I think Bobby's trying to get back. I see his picture, but he's not here. Oh, he's just having a difficult night, isn't he?
This is going to be an interesting recording.
I might actually listen to the whole playback because I'm curious.
Right. You know what?
Because he's broken up so many times.
I find out that I usually don't watch our whole playbacks. But this one, I think I might actually listen to all the way through. Not to say that it's bad.
No, it's not bad at all. It's just weird to like hear yourself, and then you've already lived it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, we all know how we would be.
I didn't talk much.
we actually might, like do something that normal recording artists don't do. You don't see Beyonce or other people listening to their past projects that they've done.
Okay, now you're really like going off on a tangent.
Yep. No, but to match Bobby's point that he was okay with it ending with season 6, I was completely fine with that too. I mean, the thought of them having a 7th season, I would have been, not would have been, but I was fine with that. But how about this where they are with Story happen a little bit later? Like, how about once just dies off for a bit and then all of a sudden comes back within a year or so and just say, hey, so the story continues. Season 1, episode
Bonus
1,
chapter.
a whole new story.
I,
Right.
I just read in an article as I was trying to find the ratings that Eddie and Adam said basically they're not going to answer all the questions and finish every story from Once Upon a Time that the fans want. And they had a pitch for a season 8. And what that is, they won't talk about because they're like, well, we'll just mention it when people ask for a continuation storyline in a couple of years.
So I mean, like, I think once in general, to me, I don't know if we're going to just do this little montage of ourselves saying what the show means to us, but once to me,
no, it's too soon to do that. It's too soon to do this.
Well, here I'm going to do a little bit of it. I'm going to do a little bit of it. Once to me was a great show, and I loved how it was brought to life. I love the characters being brought to life, good or bad, mad or sad. It was great. It's still great. It's still got episodes to go, and I'm excited to watch the rest.
Okay, now how many of us?
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah. So
you're not having an easy night, are you?
No, I'm not. Okay. Well, now I'm getting all kinds of crap popping up on my darn computer. You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We
All
can
right, good.
see you.
All
You're
right.
good.
All right. So let me just finish out what I was saying real quick. I'm upset that sorry. Okay, so I was reading something on my computer there for a second. I'm upset that they continued because I'm really invested now, and I feel like if they were going to continue, they should have said if we're gonna try this, we're gonna try it, and regardless of the ratings we get this season, we're going to commit to 2 seasons.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. I feel like if they were going to go forward, they should have just said, we're going to commit to 2 seasons. Because if not, then there's no reason to even try what we're going to do. Because if we're halfway through the season and they've decided, you know what, this is a failed experiment, then what was the point? And it just, because now you're upsetting, you've upset the people that left after last season anyway. You've upset the people that have stayed around and now want to see this, and have now become invested in these new characters. And I just, that's how I like. Unfortunately, it was a little hit and miss at the beginning, but I feel like it's starting to catch. It's starting to catch its.
No.
Oh no! And there goes Bobby again.
Oh my goodness.
The thing is, as much as we want to wrap up the conversation for the night, I think, not saying personally or anything, we can't. We can't end the recording because that's all on Bobby's end.
Yeah, just from a technical
standpoint, all we can do is be patient.
Yes. No, but I think I get what he was saying, though. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Finally.
To be honest with you, I think season 7 should have came later, in about a couple years, and come back as the first season.
I remember at the beginning of the season, Adam and Eddie were saying that they thought the series could go on for years if they kept doing it, adding different characters and things like that, like they did this year. That's what they were hoping for.
Yeah, I think what they ended up with, as far as bringing in the new characters, is a similar effect. I don't know if either of y'all watch Doctor Who, but every time there's a new Doctor, everyone flips out. Oh, you can't take the last one. I love the last one. No, you can't. And oh, the new one sucks. Blah, blah, blah. Give it 7 or 8 episodes. Well, okay. And then by a season and a half in, they love the new one, and
it's over.
I just don't understand why an experiment like that works on a show like Doctor Who, but I can't work here.
Yeah,
I think because they've been doing it for so long. I mean, it's a bit more expected. Whereas other shows, I mean, really, what other show does? Okay, we've got American Horror Story, and that's an entirely new story and characters every season. But what else hits the reboot button like that?
This is true. I mean, well, with this show, with this show's formula, yeah, with this show's formula, this is how the formula is. Okay, long ago there was this that happened. Okay, this curse had put this curse to, had put the people in peril of ripping each other, away from their loved ones and then forgetting. With them doing that for 7 years straight, it's got kind of old. I mean, the way on how other shows do their reboots is that they have totally incorrect. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go back. Let's make the ending quick.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I don't know what you guys. I'm sure you guys have had a lot to say because I've been in and out of here. But I think at this point we're just gonna have to,
leave it right there.
That would need to be said. Yeah, I mean. Hopefully by next week I'll have all of these issues straightened out. I don't know what's going on, but let me just find this darn closing theme so we can call it a close. So thank you for joining us on this glitchy episode, this glitchy return of Greetings from Storybrooke. Even though the show is ending, we're going to be with you till the end. And yeah, I'm sorry. We're going down with the ship. And hopefully we'll have some guests along the way, maybe.
I feel like I'm on Titanic now.
Yeah, so guys,
we can't wait.
Yeah, let me see. Go ahead. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yada yada. Okay, so
wow.
Okay, there we go. Jesus.
There we go.
Premature. All right. Until next week, guys. Greetings from Storybrooke.
Woo! Goodbye from Hyper Heights.
Oh my God.